When you look at yourself in the mirror, are you happy with the reflection you see? Are you happy with the way you're living your life? Are you truly living out your potential as a woman in a relationship or in a marriage?
Let's talk about how I healed my codependency issues in my relationship. First of all, Poppy, I drink like 2 of you a day. Let's send some cases over. So when I was in my 7-year-long relationship, the first year to 2 years, I was so insecure, you guys. I was always worried that he was going to cheat on me. I was always worried that he was talking to other girls. I was always worried about him being at the gym or being at work. I was just so lost, dude. I just didn't know who I was, and I was deeply, deeply, deeply insecure and fearful. During that time, because my energy was like that, he totally felt it, and it was almost like he always had the upper hand in our relationship during those years. It was until I opened my eyes and understood what I was doing, like psychologically, and I reversed that shit so fast. So I would say about year 2 is when I woke up and was like, oh my gosh, I'm literally handing him all of my power and giving him the ability to walk all over me. Give me that back, like what? And so I started doing things for myself because I realized, I was like, oh my God, Ani, you're not doing anything for yourself. How are you supposed to know who you are when you're not doing anything for yourself? And it all clicked. So I started doing yoga every morning. I started waking up earlier than him every single day. I started working on my businesses. I started focusing on things that just solely belonged to me and had nothing to do with him.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but that person's shitty mood is not your responsibility. Their bad day, their stress, their sadness, I know that you love them and I know that you care, but it's not your problem to fix. In fact, there may even be a part of you that actually wants to fix it because their distress feels like a threat to your connection with them. Like if they get too upset, too overwhelmed, they'll withdraw. You'll lose them and their love. But if you can detect and fix every problem for them, then you're good. You're safe, right? No. That's called codependence. Love doesn't require you to manage the emotions of another adult. Separate your feelings from theirs. Allow them to rely on their own resilience and trust them to manage their own feelings. Be supportive, be present, be kind, but remember, you can't fix their problems for them.
Ladies, have you ever felt like you are constantly giving but never getting enough in return? Are you in a relationship that is more about their needs more than yours? Codependency is taking a toll on women, and it's time to break the cycle.
I say, I want to do what you want to do. I am not saying that to be polite. I am not saying that selflessly. I am saying that selfishly. Because I know for a fact, if we do something that I suggest we do, I will not enjoy a single moment of our entire time together, because the entire time that we are together, I will be thinking, do they hate this? Do they wish I chose something else? Do they want to leave? I genuinely rather do what you want to do than go to my favorite restaurant or to watch my favorite.
The codependency is showing.
You saw me cleaning the other night, so are you going to get up and help maybe? And you're like, I don't
need
think
to help
so.
every time you
That
clean.
was the first time we've cleaned. We said we're going to clean on Sundays. So Sunday,
He said.
Clorox was out, Windex was out. I was doing this, putting dishes away, cleaning everything, doing the bathroom, scrubbing the toilet. I came out and said, you going to
Great
help?
job.
Would you say great job?
Yeah, good job. That's awesome. You're not my mom. You're not going to just boss me around and make me do things.
Codependency is showing. And I know there's so much more, especially about women in labor in the household, that exists in this scenario. But let's use this as an example of the way that in our codependence, we do metaphorically or literally feel like we need to follow people around and manage whatever thing is undone for them. Whatever issue they are having, whatever they move out of place, whether it's something physical or in their life, something occurs, we follow them around and we manage it. And my clients who come to me and they're at the end of their rope and they're lashing out at people from this usually are at the point where they are losing key relationships because other people are upset at the way that they are treating them.
Before you pour your heart out into someone else, stop and ask yourself, what about you? Codependency drains women physically, emotionally, and mentally.
If someone's struggling with codependency and they feel like they've lost themselves in a relationship, what are some ways they can start refinding who they are?
Well, a lot of people, when they have lost themselves, probably didn't really know themselves. So usually when someone has lost themselves in relationships, they were taught that it was romantic to give up who they are or to sacrifice everything for love. But the thing that I always recommend to people when you ask them something like, what do you want? What do you need? And they're like, I don't even know. So I'll say like, who do you admire? And they'll be able to name someone. Usually people you admire embody values that you desire. So that's a good way to sort of like not have to do it yourself because you're feeling selfish or whatever. Because that's usually when you start to prioritize yourself, you have guilt and you feel selfish. Because guilt is normally what actually made it so you abandoned yourself. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hello fam, how you all doing? Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Thank you. Codependency isn't love. It's you losing yourself into someone else's world, putting their needs above your own until you lose yourself in the process.
What would you say codependency looks like in a romantic relationship and a friendship?
For most people, it really looks like if you're okay, I'm okay. If, you're happy, I'm happy. It's really always being concerned about the other. That for me is usually emotional and psychic. If we're in the room, and like we're just kind of chilling and the vibes are low, I'm like, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? Did they not like me? Am I being okay? When really it could be like, yo, I'm chilling. I just want to chill. And so many women, because we're so psychic, because we're so intuitive, because we care so much, because a lot of the way that we've been socialized and a lot of our innate being is being communal creatures, we are so worried about the other. This can manifest as your husband watches football on Sunday and it triggers you because you think he should be reading books. Like, it is always having an external focus, and it can just drain you and drive you crazy, and is something that I think we all need to be super mindful of, because I think with social media and the way that we live virtually now, it's something that is like hyper happening in like weird, insidious ways.
In a codependent relationship, you don't have a mind of your own. There's such enmeshment in you trying to get that other person to see you, to love you, to value you. You literally give up your right to be you. You engage in these manipulative behaviors in hopes that this person is going to see you and love you like you need to be loved. Oftentimes that need is never met. You will become resentful. You'll become angry. You'll lose all hope. There's a scripture that says that hope deferred makes the heart sick. And the longer you engage in these unhealthy, toxic, codependent relationships, you're going to get sicker and sicker. You'll find that your mental illness will get worse and worse because your hope is deferred. That person may not be able to meet you where you are. The thing is, will you be wise enough to realize it and be able to move on? That is the question. And if you find that you can't do that on your own, then you might just need a therapist or a life coach to support you. This is Tia J, your healing expert. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Codependency might feel like love in the first place, but it's really an unhealthy attachment. You find yourself giving, wanting to please the other person, while you forget yourself. You lose yourself. You don't think about yourself. All you breathe and think about is the other person. It's very, very unhealthy. Do these signs sound familiar to you? Always thinking about their needs. You feel guilty whenever you worry about yourself, whenever you think about yourself. Your mind is occupied about their needs and how you will please them and make them happy. These are classic indicators of codependency, and the longer you stay in the cycle, the harder it becomes for you to break free. A good number of women out there are practicing codependency in their relationships and marriages due to societal conditioning, due to what the society told us about men and how relationship is supposed to be. We have been conditioned to pamper men and make men all about our existence. When you get into a relationship, we've been told that our role is to make sure that man fits. We pamper the man and make sure the man thrives in everything he does. So taking it back to ancient days, women have been groomed to be codependent. Over time, it became an automatic thing for women. We don't even think about it. Once you're in a relationship, it becomes automatic. It's your responsibility to cater for this man, to pamper this man, to depend on him both emotionally, physically, mentally, and otherwise. His happiness is your happiness. When he's sad, you're sad. When he's happy, you're happy. You cannot be happy without him. Looking at it, it does make sense in a slave and master kind of relationship, because that was the marriage they had in the past, the patriarchy marriage. So when you have a slave, your slave is there to serve the master. So the slave has no right to be happy if the master is not happy. The slave's happiness depends on the master's happiness. Look at it. It makes sense. It does make sense. The slave is not supposed to have an independent life. The slave is not supposed to think about themselves, because if they do, it will be termed selfishness. You're being self-centered. All you have to do is think about your master, how to serve your master, and how to please your master. This is something that has been inculcated in us. Little girls are being groomed. You will hear parents say to little girls, oh, you have to learn how to cook, so you will cook for your husband, so you will take care of your husband, so you will be there for your husband, you will treat him right. Everything is about husband. It's like God created us just to serve men, like a lot of men believe. And I think I've made a video on this. Some men believe that God created women to serve men. Not just some men, a good number of men think that way.
Now, I can only get so tied up in how you feel, because you can't make people do right by you, but you can decide how often you let them do you wrong, and you keep letting them do you wrong. You get indignant and upset and hurt and destroyed. He's tearing up your self-esteem. You can't, you feel horrible all the time, but you continue to choose to do so as if he's going to change. Why would he change? You never leave. Women tell me all the time, I don't want to start over. What do you mean? What do you mean? It doesn't get any uglier than this. You feel horrible. You are never secure, you're never happy, and you continue to choose it because you're too afraid to take that move. I'm going to give you a book. It's called Dear Sonali, Letters to a Daughter I Never Had. I got a whole chapter on how to get rid of a dude and what you should do. You are who you are. You are your mind, your abilities, your effort, your achievements. Having him adds nothing to you other than pain and agony. What for? What for? If you don't hear anything else today, he'll never get any better. He will only get worse. Why sign on for that type of hell? And let me tell you something. If you're afraid you just can't get another dude, because I know the market's tight, I get that part. But if you're afraid you'll never get another dude, isn't it better to be happy and whole and feel good about yourself by yourself than it is to feel low and degraded and unloved with another dude? Not to mention, he can give you diseases. It's not a loss. You can be happy on your own. You really can. You do not need a man to define you. A man should be an option, not a definition. You with me? Move on, love on, but hey, he's gonna call. Cause he knows where you're weak. You should delete his number. You should write on the walls all over your house, he's trifling, no good, don't take him back. But please, hey, we can get you a tape of the show and I can holler at you every day about what a fool you been for this particular trifling individual. You understand what I'm telling you? Move on, go on. You are gorgeous. Yes. Gorgeous. And you have far more value than he's able to give you. Best of luck to you. There will be no recovering this matter. It is so ordered.
In a good number of relationships out there, you would find young women, even older women, running for men for validation. You would find them constantly waiting on their phone just to get a text message for them to feel better, or waiting for a sign of affection from that man for them to feel loved. It's not love, it's codependency. That behavior can be very exhausting. How long will you continue to do that just for you to feel loved from someone else, from your man, from your fellow human being? What happens if that man refuses to show up? That means without him showing up, without him showing a sign of affection towards you, your happiness is not going to exist. It's very dangerous. You deserve more than a life that depends on someone else's mood. You deserve to say no without feeling guilty. You deserve to love yourself, to do things for yourself without feeling guilty. You deserve true love without attachment. And that true love should start by you truly loving yourself, pampering yourself, and putting yourself first. It's time to break free from the chains of codependency and start living for yourself and loving yourself. A healthy relationship does not deserve you losing yourself. The strongest relationship comes from two people who support each other without either of the parties giving up who they are.
In this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips to heal codependency. And when we have codependent traits, we get utterly enmeshed and entangled with another person's damage and we try to fix it. Okay, so number one, to overcome codependency, we have to spend some time single, truly single, no dating apps, no dating, just dating self and learning to overcome the fear of being alone and filling up that inner void with self-validation, self-love, self-approval, self-appreciation. Okay, number four, working on your triggers and abandonment wound and anxious attachment style and really getting this into a secure attachment style. Number five, trust your gut when you do start dating. Your gut will tell you straight away whether the person's broken or damaged or narcissistic, and you must say no to addicts, narcissists, unavailable, avoidant, broken and damaged people. You know who they are because your gut instinct will tell you. If you say yes, then you're back on the codependent path. You have to say no to these people. Number seven, you can release your past trauma, any neglect, abandonment and dysfunction in the past via, doing some therapy, forgiving your childhood events and your parents, etc., releasing all of that kind of trauma out of the body. 9, notice your need to please, fix, overgive, change, scold, control, nag people. Notice that and stop it. And number 10, when you're in a relationship, you must accept a healthy person, somebody that's accountable for themselves, somebody that's quite awakened, somebody that's consistent, loving, quite functional. And within that relationship, learn how to assert your needs, learn how to give boundaries, learn how to express yourself vulnerably. Have your own life within the relationship. Don't give up your life for the relationship. Heal your triggers in the moment when they come up and stay interdependent within the relationship.
Codependency just doesn't hurt you emotionally. It leads to anxiety, depression, and even physical exhaustion. Your mental health matters, and no one should take that away from you, not even in the name of love.
Trying to explain what codependency feels like to someone who has a secure attachment style is almost impossible. There's no length that I would not go to for the person that I love. Like, I would burn my entire life to the ground for that person. And as someone that is so self-sacrificing, you almost always end up with someone that's going to use and abuse that, take advantage of that. In relationships, I have such a lack of self-esteem, of boundaries. Like, you can cheat on me, I'll forgive you, I'll make an excuse for you. And it's terrible, it's awful, because consciously no one wants to be treated like that. For me, as a codependent, trying to establish a boundary feels like almost guaranteed rejection. Like, I wouldn't even try because my self-esteem is so low. I have experienced the height of abuse, and that's not me victimizing myself. I completely understand that I play a role in that pattern repeating itself. It's the fact that I don't feel like I can help it. Like an addiction to wanting to help someone, to wanting to love someone and make them better. Breaking up and moving on from relationships is almost impossible because you no longer have that person to project onto and you're left with yourself. And as sad as it is, most of us, we hate ourselves. In a way, for me, I feel like I'd rather waste my time trying to fix someone else because I've decided that I'm so irrevocably broken, there's no point in trying to fix myself. And how incredibly sad is that? So many of us that have lived through childhood trauma have grown up to believe that this is all we deserve.
Codependency at its core is a lack of a sense of self. Capital S, right? And so codependency recovery and identity recovery and building are synonymous, like they go hand in hand. And so when we start in the moment going, do I want to have this ice cream or this ice cream? And we say it out loud and we stand by our convictions, we're putting a building block on the foundation of self, even though it seems silly. This kind of conviction, setting a boundary. Do I want to do this? No. Do I want to go to this party? How does this make you feel? I don't know. Okay, stop for a second. Get the fuck out of your head. Stop. Look at me in the face and say, do you want to go here? Not about should. Do you want to? And if you go, I'm actually kind of tired. Like, what do you feel in your body? Tired. Okay, that's a no. And you say no. That's a building block on foundation of self, right? And it's allowing yourself to have an opinion and stand by it, regardless of what happens and how you're perceived because of that. That's when we start building that sense of self.
Codependency doesn't define you. It's time to take control of your life and your happiness. The first step is you recognizing the problem, and the next step is you knowing that you deserve better and acknowledging that you deserve better. You really do deserve better. Be strong. You can do it. Think about yourself. Put yourself first. Self-love is very important, and don't let anyone out there control you. Speaking of control, if you'd love to watch a video about how men manipulate women that they can't control, click this video here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.